Hello and welcome to the Weaponized Body Podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Ryan Hewitt, and I'm coming to you today with a mindset episode. And I wanted to speak today about the power of morning routine. So, the morning routine has got a lot of social media attention in the last, I'd say, like 5 years. Uh, all the influencers that are showing off their morning routines and all the extravagant things that they do and all the wild and crazy routines that they apply to their life. And there's successful people out there that make fun of all these folks that spend 2-3 hours like with their routines in the morning, and then they get zero productivity done, which can happen. You can kind of get locked into a lot of fluffy, useless behaviors. But here's the thing. Here's what I found. I'm going to speak from just my experience, and you can take from it what you will. Take some of the elements that ring true to you that might apply to your life. But for me, the morning routine thing was something that I always strive to do in my life, like through my 30s and into my 40s. And for me, it was elusive for a long time, and simply because would never get up on time. The thing is, like, I would lose the mind over mattress game often, and I would get discouraged, and then I would get out of routine, or I would say I would do it, once, and then I would fall out of it, and then it would just fall apart until I decided, like, okay, I'm going to do this again. And the reason it kept coming up for me is because the more successful people that I studied, the more and more I realized, like, most successful people in this world, they have some form of regular routine in the morning that sets them up for success for the day. And it wasn't until I found Wake Up Warrior that really hammered this home for me, how important it is to set your mind up and your body up, and really just your focus up for success for the day. They have a saying that you hit the core four before you hit the door to win the war. And I felt this for the first time when I took on a challenge with Wake Up Warrior, and I really committed to it. And it made such a massive difference in how I showed up during the day that I realized that there is something to this, and it's different for everybody. I'm not saying my morning routine is something that everybody should replicate, or that anybody should replicate. But for me, this is what I found. If you're able to start your morning in a consistent fashion where you're getting your mind and your focus centered to where you want to be, and you're preparing your body and your nervous system, and you're fueling yourself, and you have like 10 out of 10 like energy, then you're going to show up in whatever you do during the day as closer to the best version of yourself. And I don't know about you, but for me, that's really important. I want to be able to like execute whatever it is, like your vocation or your relationships or your training or anything like that. I always want to just do my best. If you have a desire to do your best, then a morning routine is something that you may want to look at as far as like from a performance, a health, a recovery perspective. Because how you start your morning sets the tone for your day. Probably heard that before. And listen, if your mornings are chaotic, and I think most or a lot of people's are, like, they roll out of bed, you know, rub their eyes, brush their teeth, and pour themselves a cup of coffee and race out the door, or they like scramble to get the kids lunches together and then yell at them to hurry up and eat their breakfast, and then boom, everyone's out the door in like a state of stress, and you're just starting your day just in chaos and in like sympathetic stress mode. And if you're able to avoid this and dial in your morning routine, I'm telling you, it will sharpen your mind. It'll help you dominate your day and help you show up as more the best version of how you want to be for people in that day. So what we're going to do today is we're going to explore like four key pillars that I've applied into my morning routines, and how it can activate each of these, how each of these categories activate something in you to set you up for the best possible day. So let's get into it. Um, Part one here, I'm going to go over the framework of my morning routine. And I set up the framework of my morning routine into four categories of my life that I like to put attention to. And this comes down to the principle of like you get better every day by like small tiny percentages. And if you're putting focus into things incrementally over time, you're going to get these large results. And if you don't, then what happens is you want to try to like, oh, I'm going to focus on this and do a hardcore sprint, and then you burn out, and then you lose your gains. So this is designed to help you play the long game. So I put focus into four different categories of my life in the morning. I break these down into body, being, balance, and business. So this is what Wake Up Warrior taught me. Now, for me, when it comes to body, so I have specific times in the week that I work out. So I don't generally work out in the morning unless I'm trying to, um, cut or get shredded. Then I will budget time to do like between 20 to 30 minutes of fasted cardio in the morning. Is this something everybody needs to do? Absolutely not. I think, spending like 10 to 15 minutes on your body in the morning can be a game changer for a lot of people. And this could look like, just drinking 8 to 12 ounces of water first thing you wake up in the morning before you dump coffee down your throat. Um, Doing a walk outside, like a 10 to 15-minute walk while the sun is coming up. There's something to getting morning sunlight into your eyeballs that helps your hormones. It helps your neurotransmitters. It helps, elevate your mood for the day. And it actually helps with your circadian rhythm that aids in getting to bed on time. And, for me, I do a little bit of breath work also. So, and I do have a cold plunge. Now, do I think everybody needs to do cold plunge? No, I don't think it's necessary for everybody. I really enjoy it for the simple reasons that I choose to do something hard in the morning because I tell you what, I stand at that tub and like like everything in my brain is saying, don't do it, don't do it. It's so uncomfortable, it's brutal. But I make the decision, I get in and I stay in there for 2 minutes. And I do some breath work while I'm in the cold tub to calm my nervous system down. And when I get out, I mean, the dopamine hit you get is awesome. It's long lasting, it's natural. And what I do is I allow my body to warm up naturally as well. So I don't go and jump in a hot shower right after. So what I do first thing in the morning is I'll get to my cold tub, I'll get in and I'll do my breath work in the cold tub. I'll get out. And that's generally when I do my fasted cardio after. I'll get on my assault bike or go for a walk. So that hits body. So that's essentially like waking up your body and your nervous system, and getting this like dump of healthy chemicals in your brain, such as dopamine, serotonin. Now we'll get to being. So that covers body. And listen, if you want to do something else for body, like for me, like if you want to do a mobility routine in the morning, I think that's wonderful. Just bands and mobility devices, some things to kind of prep your body for the day. Now being, so this is more the like mindset spiritual piece. So for me, I do a 10-minute meditation. So if we did a 2-minute cold plunge, and if I choose to do a 20-minute fasted cardio, now I'll do a 10-minute meditation. Now, I've experimented with this where I'll start my day with the meditation first thing. And actually, I'm doing that currently. So I'll do the meditation first to clear my mind, and things will come up during this meditation that I generally don't I'm not thinking about necessarily the day before, the night before, but things will come up, whether that's things that are going to happen that day or things that are coming up in my life, and I'll take note of those and I'll just push them aside and and address them later. But the meditation basically helps you just activate your brain waves, gets you into a creative state. It's a nice way to just get your mind centered for the day. So I'll start with a 10-minute meditation, and then what I'll do is I'll do the cold plunge, the fasted cardio. And then this is where I'll come inside, pour myself a cup of coffee, and I'll sit down and I'll either journal. I use a tool called the Stack. And this is where I'll do my gratitude. Sometimes I'll read a Bible passage and I'll basically just do a bit of a brain dump. And that's like another 15 minutes. And this sets the tone for like emotional presence, not just productivity, but just helps get your mind really centered. I really love to get centered in gratitude. This is something that doesn't come naturally to me. I'm always focused on problems, being a doctor, looking for things to fix and whatnot. So it gets me into that state of gratitude, and it's really good for me to start the day like that. So I prep my body, I prep my mind, and then what I'll do is I will make a cup of coffee for my wife, and I'll do a little note for my daughter. And then this just um, it shows them that I'm thinking about them and that I'm making a deposit into their life. So this is a nice thing I do for my family. It doesn't have to be extraordinary, something just like making a cup of coffee, doing a little note for my daughter. I draw a little picture. She loves it. And then lastly would be business. So this is the end of my morning routine. This is where I'll review my goals for the day, things, big rocks that I want to get off my plate for the day, things that are like not necessarily urgent but important, things that are on my calendar that I must get done, things that are important for the day, and not necessarily things that are like on fire, but things I want to be able to budget time to put energy towards. And this is sort of like entering the productivity mindset. So then I've addressed like all four categories. And sometimes I'll do a little bit of reading. That sort of business category can vary. But all in all, this morning routine takes me about an hour. For me, it's really efficient, it's productive, and it sets my mind right for the day. And you can play around with this any way you want. You can use those categories. Listen, if you just want to do a couple of them, I know some people that have powerful morning routines that they meditate, they journal, and they read the Bible and pray. And then that's how they set the tone for their day, and I think that's fantastic. For me, I like to put energy towards all the categories. It really gets me centered and right for the day. Now, I'm going to share a hidden secret about morning routines is that they do not happen. You will never win the war of the mind over mattress game if you don't get to bed on time. So evening routines for me, and I think for a lot of people, prove to be especially important when you're trying to get up early. So for my morning routine, if it doesn't start around 5 a.m., then it doesn't get done. My daughter gets up around 6:30. Things start to happen in the house then, and if I'm not done my morning routine by then, it's toast. It does not get done. And what are the chances later in the day you're going to do your meditation, your journaling, your stacking, your goal review, stuff like that. Like once you're in the chaos of the day, it's done. You're locked in and you're on go. So the morning routine starts the night before. Um, this is where, and I've touched on this on other podcasts, where sleep hygiene and focus on sleep is super duper critical. Um, Getting to bed on time, whether that's like 9:30 or 10 o'clock or 10:30. For me, it's 10 p.m. That's the cutoff. We try to be in bed by 10. I mean, sleeping by 10:30 latest. Ideally, if I'm asleep before 10 p.m., I get up with ease at 5. Uh, I know myself, if I get to bed after 10, especially like 10:30 plus, it's a bit of a struggle to get out of the bed at 5:30. Usually it's more like, or sorry, 5 o'clock. It's more like 5:30 then. So getting to bed on time. In order to get to bed on time, there's other practices that I use in order to make sure that I'm ready for bed. Is that all electronics will shut them off by 9:30. If we watch a show or whatnot, I'll try not to look at my phone at all after 9:30. I do magnesium before bed, so I take a magnesium glycinate. And if I'm going to work out the next day after my morning routine, I'll set my clothes up, and just wind down, get into bed, talk to my wife for a few minutes, hug and a kiss goodnight, and it's bed. Lights are off. Windows are open if it's good temp. Make sure it's really dark in the room, and just set your room up where it's just like nothing happens in that room except like sleep and sex. That's it. You should not be a TV in your room. Anything that's going to distract you or keep you up. So the key is to making sure you get to bed on time. Then you'll wake up, get that morning routine done. That's how you're able to hit those behaviors that are going to set you up right to show up as the best version of yourself. So I'm sure that makes sense to everybody. Super simple. So let's just talk about like some execution principles for people that want to dive in and do a morning routine. As I mentioned before, like starting very simple is the way to go. My morning routine has evolved over the years, like over the past 5, 6, 7 years. really, if you try to like cram in 5 or 6 or 7 things, you're gonna get frustrated if you don't get up on time, and if you're like struggling to get through them and you're cut off and people are up and you're only halfway done. Like, just maybe start simple in the beginning. I would start with something with your mind and your body. Those are the two that really, I think, make the most difference for your mindset. If you can move your body a little bit, just like do a 10 to 15-minute walk, get a little sunshine in your eyes. If you have, a bike or something like that, something where you're going to get your body moving, you could do a little bit of mobility. Hey, some people love to even work out first thing in the morning. If you do, awesome. No better way to start the day than with a great workout. Uh, you know, I'll do that a couple of days a week when I got to get out of the house by 6. So I'll do my morning routine 5 to 6. I'll get out, do a an hour workout from 6 to 7. Making sure that you start small though, whether it's like I meditate and I do a 20-minute walk. Start with that. Stay consistent for a few weeks, then start to add on top of that. So it's not about aiming for perfection. It's just aiming for consistency. That is the key. It's consistency. Um, Here's the other thing that's helped me too is to track it. So I use an app through Wake Up Warrior, and I track my core four with that. So body, being, balanced, business. I'll track the behaviors with the core four. Check them off. There's a score that I get every week that I review, and I can see how am I doing executing my core four. How does that translate into the productivity that I'm able to achieve during the week? How are my moods and my results? And I can really almost always boil it down to like, oh, my morning routine's a bit sideways. No wonder I'm not getting the results. Just always comes back to that morning routine. So it's like a ritual. You've probably heard of morning rituals, morning routines, or whatnot. This is a ritual or a routine that I think is really valuable to try to strive towards. And by the way, it doesn't have to happen at 5 a.m. Like, if you like to get up at 7, do your morning routine at 7. There's no hard and fast rule. You got to get up early. Got to get up at 4. The 4 a.m. club, forget it. Uh, there's never going to be a 4 a.m. club for me. It's 5 a.m. That's when it happens for me. Whenever it happens for you, that's up to you. As long as it's happening consistently, that's the rule. So, just as a recap, I like to categorize my morning routine behaviors in 4 categories: body, being, balanced, business. So something that's exercise and movement oriented, something that's mindset oriented, whether it's like breathing, meditation, journaling, gratitude, prayer. Something that's balance oriented, so sending a text to a family member or to like a spouse or a loved one, writing a note. It could look like anything, just making a little deposit into people that you care about. It's a really powerful way to start the day, in an act of service, essentially, and in an act of showing the people you care about that you're thinking about them. And then business. So in business, what I mean by that is just something either personal growth oriented, something you're learning about, something that you're tracking when it comes to your productivity, something you're creating. I always put a little energy towards that. For me, it's like a goal review. Sometimes I'll read 5 pages of a book that I'm enjoying, and then I'll write down my takeaways. Sometimes I'll share them. I'll do a Facebook Live on the way to work, something like that. Uh, so that's what mine looks like. Again, my morning routine is not perfect. It's nothing special. It's something that works for me. If it sounds like that's resonating with you, by all means, give it a go. But like I said, just start small, start consistent. I'd say like start with like a 30-day challenge and pick how it's going to look, execute, and see what happens. Try the framework that I gave you, the body, being, balanced, business. So, this is a pretty simple podcast. Morning routines are not complicated, nor should they be. You don't need to do an extravagant 2 to 3 hour routine in order to see the results and how they show up in your life. Like I said, just start with small behaviors consistently, and give it a go. So, if you liked this podcast, something you got some value from this, so subscribe and share, and feel free to leave reviews. I always appreciate it. Send me questions. The Weaponized Dad on Instagram, Facebook, Dr. Ryan Hewitt, and you can always shoot me an email too, Dr. Ryan at theweaponizedbody.com. I appreciate you guys listening as always, and go get it.